From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrus with Weather Weeklies.
Hey, good Sunday morning to another season starting of Weather Weeklies with the Sunday video of October 16th. This is a weekly video that we do every Sunday morning, and we discuss mainly winter stuff here, but it's not too early to start talking about that now. We've actually started talking about this in the EPAWA Premium Forum for about a month now. So I'm looking at the signs and signals of what we're looking at going forward heading into winter. Once we get into the winter seasons, for those of you that are unfamiliar, we start getting a little bit more in-depth with the actual storms that are showing. Of course, we're not showing any yet. A little early for that, but we are looking at, this is early enough to start looking at some signals going forward. I will say this will not be as detailed and informative as the premium form will be. We go very in depth in that discussion, and but this one will not change. This is not changing from if you saw the ones in the previous years. This is not, the format's not changing. So the kind of level of detail will still be the same in Weather Weeklies going forward. But if you want above and beyond and want the discussion and things like that with the meteorologists from both Eastern PA Weather Authority and Weather New Jersey, then you can do that in the premium form. We'll be discussing it in there. We always start off these videos with a long-range chart. Again, we're not talking about winter threats right now, so we're not going to spend too much time on this. This comes out every Friday with our long-range outlook, and obviously we're going to be above normal for several days in the near term, and then we think we're going to head to the fourth week of October, head below near to slightly below normal temperatures. So we'll be warm this week coming up here. The biggest takeaways here that I just want to count on, I'm not going to worry about precipitation and all that, because again, we're not talking about snow just yet. But we will have October average at least slightly above normal. We might have to adjust this to maybe a degree or two higher. We'll have to see how this warmth this week really affects this region. But we do have a colder week 4, so it might balance it out somewhat. But here is the precipitation. We might have to lower this a little bit. We had Hurricane Matthew come through, and that was a little over a week ago, and that brought the remnant precipitation right along the Delaware and southern New Jersey coastlines especially. But those areas got hit pretty hard with some rain. So those areas are above normal for the month of October. Everywhere else is going to be near to slightly below, in some cases well below. And those drought concerns are going to continue. I don't think we were going to get into any appreciable precipitation until we get into the month of November, it looks like, because we were looking at something coming in at the end of this week, and models are backing off on that precipitation, or at least the low pressure forming along that frontal boundary in the Friday-Saturday time frame. So I do think we're going to not get that really heavy rain that we were hoping for, that we need. So that this is going to end up, we're going to have to wait till November to get it back to near normal precipitation, it looks like. No viable threats to this area from any tropical systems, though, in the next 2 weeks, which is a good thing. Now, we're talking about winter here going forward. This is a snapshot of the current. This is observed sea surface temperatures. Now, we talked about, you've probably heard El Nino, La Nina thrown around there. Last year, we were in a super El Nino. This year, we are in a La Nina, and that's because the sea surface temperatures in this region right here is in the equatorial eastern Pacific. Here's your international date line right like this. So we're worried about this area, and of course your equator, not a straight line here of course, but that's your equator. You're worried about temperatures right along this region here as far as El Nino. This determines El Nino or La Nina, and anything on the lower end of the chart here below zero, this is comparing sea surface temperatures to what average is supposed to be. So if your temperatures here are generally minus 0.5, minus 0.6, minus 0.8, that's all a weak La Nina. Weak La Nina starts at minus 0.5 and goes up to goes up higher than that. But then you have the neutral region, which is anywhere between plus or minus 0.5, right in this region right here, plus or minus 0.5. That would be an ENSO neutral. There was some speculation that we might not reach a weak La Nina this year, and we might head to neutral. We got some people excited because they know that there's been several big snow years that were centered around neutral conditions. Again, news for you: you can have them around in any. And I mean, the stronger the La Nina, the lesser the chances you get. I'll give you that. That means the stronger the southeast ridge is. But if it's a weak La Nina, you still get some pretty big storms. You get some pretty big winters. And we'll talk about that, one of those, one of those winners, which is actually becoming a leading analog for this year that did quite well. Also going to pay attention to the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, which is this area up here, the Northern Pacific, the AMO, which is the this area up here. We're paying attention to those areas too, as they will have impacts on our weather. Why is this so important? Sea surface temperatures drives global climate. Okay, so every one of these different areas I'm circling, they all have individual roles, and will determine things like where the jet stream goes. Like for example, this is the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. If this is a positive and you have warm water up here, it allows for a ridge up in this area, which can give you a trough in the east. And if you have a trough in the east, that's cold weather. That's the idea. So that's just one thing. I'm not going to get too much into this, but there's a lot of different factors that go into this. All right, if this remains weaker here in a La Nina, you have a southeast ridge, which is everybody's familiar with the Bermuda High. You have a southeast ridge that pumps up warm air on the eastern seaboard. Well, in a La Nina, the stronger La Nina is, that's going to happen. If this remains weaker, it's less likely. You might have it every once in a while. This is not going to be a slam dunk winter, I don't think, where you're going to have, you're just cold for months. Okay, you're going to have some up and down periods. All right, this is not going to be. You're going to have some warm periods this winter at times. All right, because you're going to have the southeast ridge fighting back a little bit. In a weak La Nina, that can happen. But if you're dominated by other things, other factors, you can keep more cold and snow in place. But we'll get into that as we go today in future and in future videos. Here is what I want to bring attention to. This is the Nino region departures, and this is the departures in the last 2 weeks. This is definitely dropping. This area up here, this is all last winter. This is all when we had that super Nino up here. Okay, you can see the temperatures are very warm, anomalously warm. That was our super Nino last year, but it has steadily dropped off in every region. And each region here, you have Nino 1 and 2 close to the Peruvian coast. This is Nino 3. This is the international. This is just looking at the international date line here. Here's the equator. Okay. So as you're going west, you're South America, North America. Nino 1 and 2 is right along the Peruvian coast. Okay, so that's this area right here. All right, steadily dropping, and recently it's still positive yet, but it's the warmest region of all four. But these are the four we look at. Here's Nino 3, which is a little. It goes not quite to the international date line. It goes between 90 and 150 west. Then you have Nino 4 between 150 west and about 165 east, or thereabout. And then you have Nino 3.4, which is kind of a cross-section of both of them. It crosses over both Nino 3 and 4. This is the one we really care about the most in our region, but that is also negative. And you also see a drop down. That's actually the coolest region right now, minus 0.9. I will tell you, weak La Nina start at minus 0.5. So if you're at minus 0.6, 0.9, minus 0.9, this is a La Nina. All right? It hasn't been declared as such yet because you have variabilities week to week and day to day. All right, like we have a warming episode going right now. Up some downwelling taking place in Nino 1 and 2. It looks like, so we had some warming in this region. This will likely come up this week. But you have these other regions here. They'll fluctuate up and down. But the overall trend over time is this. You see that it keeps going down. The overall trend keeps going down. So you can look at daily numbers all you want. You'll be driving yourself nuts. But if you're looking at like I used a difference from 2 weeks ago average here. And this is what we have. It still continues to steadily drop, and that's the important thing. The CFS V2, I'm still waiting on the mid-October plume of model forecasts. They have not come out yet, but the CFS V2 updates daily. So this is still showing where we are right now. We're at actually about minus 0.5 or 0.6, and it's still continuing to go down. It's projected to go down as we head toward January 2017 to close to minus 1 L1I, and then it'll start to increase again. This is still a weak La Nina at this point, but this opens up some opportunities from some other analogs. Okay, I want to get back into these analogs toward the end here because I think that's like the little cookie here we're looking at. The Northern Pacific and PDO. This is still a positive number. There's been some people arguing with me on Twitter saying, no, it's negative. The National Climatic Data Center says it's negative. I don't know where they get their information from, but it's been positive for a long time, and I don't use that. I don't use the NCDC it's not negative. This is not a negative look. This is a positive PDO, which is a warm PDO. This promotes the ridging in the Gulf of Alaska, and like I showed you in that previous image, you can get a trough in the east in winter is the idea here. But now it has been dropping, but it's still positive. Plus 0.45 is the number, calculated number for PDO here, and this is a 20 to 30 year variability here, so it's not going to make any so seriously abrupt changes in the next couple months. It usually has a lag time and follows La Nina typically, so it should continue to drop, but very steadily. But it still should remain positive, I think, as we head into at least the beginning of winter going forward. And one of the biggest things we look at in this time of year is snow cover propagation. And the idea here, increased autumn snow cover in Siberia will lead to a disruption of the polar vortex, okay, and send it further south. This allows the jet stream to come further south. It strengthens. And then when we get into winter, now we're worried about right now, this is a process. It takes a couple months. So by the time we get to winter, the idea is it's forced far enough south, the jet stream is forced far enough south that you have the colder winter in eastern U.S. and Europe, because that polar vortex is displaced by that increased snow cover in Siberia and western Canada. So that's why we're starting to pay attention to this a lot more this time of year. And right now we're still in the projection mode. This is the current snow cover in Siberia. Tremendous amount of snow up here in eastern Siberia and kind of sporadic further west. But look what happens. Look at a model projection in 10 days from now. Boom. A lot more snow. Okay, so this is all over Russia, and there's a lot of snow cover here to help disrupt that polar vortex down the line. Same thing, Western Canada, we pay attention. In Alaska, we pay attention. This is right now. This is model projection in 10 days. Increasing. As long as we see this increasing. Okay, as long as we see these areas increasing, we're going from this in Siberia to this, and this in Western Canada to this. This is a good thing. This is ahead of schedule. If you want cold and snow, this is a good thing. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is analogs, and we were talking about the different analogs, but I can't get into each individual one. But one of the ones that has been really, really gaining steam tremendously has been 1996 and 1995, 1996. If you now, I can just hear people going woo right now because they love snow, because that was a huge snow year, and there's a lot of similarities between 95, 96, especially with this, even from this month. If you look at the month of October 1995, everything seemed to be matching up almost perfectly. And if you look at the Euro Weekly, Euro Monthlies going forward are starting to match 95, 96 almost perfectly. Okay, here is the sea surface temperature 95, 96, what we project to be matching almost perfectly. PDO's positive. We got a lot of different things, a ton of things going on here in this year, and even the QBO, which we get into later because it's still a little too early for that. Even the QBO was a match, so there's a lot of things that we have to be excited about if you're a snow lover for 95, 96 to play out. If you don't know what 95, 96 did, is actually for some areas one of the snowiest, if not top. It was definitely a top three winner in this region. Some places the highest all-time snowfall. Some was now I'm not gonna say that's going to happen again. The reason being, if you remember, we had the blizzard in 96, January 7th, 8th time frame, that dropped somewhere around 2 feet of snow, somewhere between 20 and 30 inches of snow. Even if you take that out, though, if you took that out of last year, some places would have got a dusting. Some places that got these 30, 32 inch numbers would have had 4 or 5 inches of snow for the entire winter, and it would have been a very poor winter as far as total snowfall. Okay, this year, though, however, 95, 96, you take that blizzard out, and you still have a very good winter. I mean, we're talking about, I'm going to take one place in for example, Allentown, Pennsylvania, because it's on top of my mind. I just did these analogs the other day. Allentown, Pennsylvania had the second highest snowfall ever recorded in 95, 96 in that winter season. Had 25.9 inches from that blizzard. Okay, you can't forecast a blizzard. It happens, and then you do get. But the total snow for that winter was 71.8 inches of snow. So even if you take that out, take the 25.6 out, or 25.9, take that out. All right, you still have 46 inches of snow left over. That's still a season and a half worth of snowfall for them, almost, because the normal in Allentown is 32.9 inches. So the idea here is, even if you don't get a big blizzard, you're still going to have above normal snowfall, we think, based on a 95, 96 setup. So, we're probably not going to project 72 inches. You don't do that. That's like trying to project records. You just don't. it's a no-no. If it happens, it puts you at 70 inches. If not, you're back down to 45. It's kind of something like that. So we're going to be watching that. But there are some other analogs we're using. We were using, since this one was public, we talked about 1983, 1984 being a possibility because we've been using 82, 83 straight through the summer. It's worked well. It is still a viable option. Now, that was not as lucrative in the snowfall department. It still was maybe near or slightly above normal for some places, but it wasn't as lucrative. So there's some other ones we're looking at. That's one we made public, but I want you to watch 95, 96. That is gaining steam and gaining steam rapidly. My Pocket Meteorologist winter alerts are now back. You can get the weather alerts for just the winter months between November 1st and March 31st. Actually, not even November 1st. If you sign up right now, obviously it's only October 16th. If you sign up right now, it starts right now. You don't have to wait. And it goes all the way until the end of November or the last snow. And what this does, it gives you a focused per county text. So if you live in Northampton County, you're going to get a text for specific to Northampton County. You're going to get precise timing expected of any snow, the snow consistency, whether we have ice or changeover times or anything like that. Anything like that will be outlined in the text itself. How much you're going to get, you'll be the first to know. You'll get these updates during the event if there's changes, or maybe an earlier or later start time than we had originally. Okay, you can do these for one county, or if you commute, you do them for two counties. If all you have to do is click on the image below, it'll take you to the My Pocket Meteorologist page, and you can sign up for that, and you'll see the winter options there listed as well. We also have the premium forum. You can do that as a standalone option, or if you have existing services, add it on for just $30. And again, these winter options are for it's a one-time payment, not every month, one-time payment, and you're done. It's not a recurring subscription. It's just for November 1st through March 31st, and actually, if you sign up earlier, it starts earlier and goes to the last snow. If it still snows in April, you still get those alerts later than March 31st as well. And it's for one low price, $24.99 for one county. If you're monitoring two counties, if you commute to work across county borders, $34.99 for that. And then this is what you get you get absolutely everything if you combine the two together with the forum. The forum, of course, does question and answer sessions with the meteorologist and interaction, a detailed model analysis the public that will never get, and also early access to all our snow maps and seasonal forecasts. We do long range in there. We've been doing that throughout the year. This is a yearly subscription too. This goes year round, not just for the winter. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Marchers. That is this edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, October 16th. Join us again next week. We'll go into further detail as we head into the winter months. Take care.